Made in China goods don't last. That was what this woman was crying at the hospital. Though. She was crying over the loss of her grandchild, who was fathered by a Chinese man. Anyway, welcome, welcome. Today is live and unscripted. My name is Dorcas Glader. This is Chit Chat Live with the African in Ecuador. How are we doing? How was Easter? Last Saturday, I didn't do any content, neither did I go live. So this is the last weekend of April, and it's officially 1 year since I became intentionally a content creator on YouTube. I was always a consumer until last year when I took the challenge to upload a video every week of my language practice, which I did, and a lot of you began following me when I came to the end of the challenge, and I've opened another language channel called La Autodidact. So if you're interested in learning foreign languages, I speak French, I speak the Spanish, I speak the Italian. Yeah. But what has Chinese products got to do with all this? It's not news, or at least it's not news, fresh news, and it's probably also not stale that everybody now knows where all the designer luxury goods have been coming from. The funny thing is that many people were ignorant of the fact that if at all they were using genuine leather to produce any luxurious good like bags, belts, shoes, 80 or 90% of those leather skins, hides were coming from Africa, Nigeria to be precise, from Kano State, from Kaduna State, because yeah, when I was growing up in Kaduna, we used to buy those things. You know, you would go to the market, you would feel that this was hide. If you are Nigerian, you know what leather feels like, you know what leather smells like, except you were not, they didn't use koboko on your body. Yeah. So, but those of us who grew up in that era where they used to flog children, you know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, I always, it was one of the highlights of going to the market with my mom, my grandparents, when we would pass through the leather goods sections, you know, of the markets where they sold leather bags. You could really smell that raw hide, despite the fact that it was dyed or something. So it was always a pleasure. So those things, those leather goods were actually from Africa. Then one morning, Donald Trump just woke up from the wrong side of the bed and decided to go on trade wars with countries, and his biggest enemy turned out to be China. And it's not that the videos that are making the rounds on TikTok were new, it's just that they became more popular after this tariffs were announced, you know, meaning that people started bringing out all those videos where the Chinese TikTokers, because of course TikTok is from China, were saying that a lot of these luxurious brands were from China, were made in China. And a lot of people were shocked to say, wow. You know, I remember that one TikTok that asked a very important question where he said, imagine your luxurious bag, you know, the etiquette, the brand says made in China as opposed to made in France or made in Italy. Does that change the quality of the bag? And if you feel that the quality of the bag has changed because of that, then it means you have been brainwashed, you know. And post Donald Trump's saga, a lot of those videos started becoming popular. A lot of YouTubers commented on it. And one thing stood out for me is that even in Africa, we have been brainwashed about Chinese goods. I grew up in Nigeria in the era where Chinese products were readily available and easily affordable. We could easily buy them, but you bought them just because it was an emergency, because you didn't have the money to buy the original, so to speak. In fact, in my childhood, it was far better to buy secondhand American clothing than to buy Chinese made clothing. Whereas, and for as a matter of fact, in Nigeria, we when it comes to goods like clothing, shoes, bags, I wouldn't say we have a lot of Chinese goods because we had Abamid. If you went to the market, you were asked, do you want imported or did you want Abamid? Abamid is like our Chinese goods, you know. It was in SA and other places that I began to see more Chinese goods. Whereas when you went for electronics, they would ask you if you wanted the Chinese product or you wanted the original being from South Korea, I think Malaysia, Indonesia, and all those other places, you know, where they made those brands. So when I grew up and I went to visit Congo, I met my aunt who happened to be an international businesswoman. And we're talking about the trading business where she goes to China to order for goods and come back, and sometimes she would go to Dubai. And she told me something very interesting, that it was the buyer who determines the quality of goods that were made by the Chinese. So the Chinese just didn't wake up and just produce anything. They would give you samples of the raw materials that would be used to make your goods, and then you would choose the quality, which made a lot of people to go for inferior quality raw materials, and then they'll have the goods and then they'll just ship it to Africa. So we, along with the Americans, I think are coming to an awakening that quality things are actually produced in China. It's not really fake goods because of the producer per se, but rather the, how do I put it, like the wholesaler, yeah, the person who goes to buy and come to sell, whether in Africa or in this case, the so-called fashion houses like Hermes, Chanel, and all those things. Because I always wondered at a point in time why a lot of YouTubers were creating videos where they were complaining about the quality of such luxurious goods. Because when I was a child, those luxurious goods were actually luxurious because only a few could afford the quality. You know, when you had an Hermes or a Chanel or whatever foreign brand, it was really, really durable. And that was why a lot of we Africans would rather go to a second-hand market and buy a Victoria's Secret bra second-hand or Victoria's shirt, clothes second-handed, because we knew that those so-called brands now were quality. So it didn't matter if they were pre-loved, as we said in today's language, you know. So that was something very interesting. And a part of me is thinking, what are the YouTubers who started their channels? What are they thinking? Are they preparing to file a class lawsuit against these houses? Because if you come to think of it, those prices were ridiculously expensive. I mean, imagine a handbag going for $35,000, $26,000. That's a lot of money in Africa, you know. Even here in Ecuador where I live, when I came here, there are very few people, a lot of people I work with on the missionary field don't even know that there are bags that are as expensive as 300 to the average Ecuadorian. Yeah, it's not something they figure out, you know. No, they don't really think about it. But that is to show you that there is nothing as constant as change, you know. So the bad reputation, the infamous name of Chinese goods is changing, no thanks to Donald Trump. And now we are all becoming aware that China does have quality goods and at an affordable price. And a lot of these houses have been deceiving us, and many people are having links to direct suppliers or manufacturers of these goods in China. When I was thinking about that, I thought about my own journey on YouTube. This is the last weekend in April, and it's been 1 year since I became a YouTuber or a content creator or whatever the appropriate label is. But I was looking at my page and I thought to myself, it's really, really funny, you know, the place I am now, that I have more videos than I have content, subscribers rather. I have more content than I have subscribers. I was checking my phone and I have close to 300 videos, shorts included, and I don't have even up to 150 subscribers. It's appalling. It's shameful. It's shameful. For a long time, it used to depress me. I used to feel sad about it. But one thing stuck out to me that it's a phase. Anything that you are trying to grow takes time. For a tree to grow, it needs to take root. Nobody sees the time or the process or the length that the root goes into the ground to become firm. We just see the tree budding. We don't know how long. We don't know the pain, the process that it took for the root to remain firm in the ground before the tree grows out and bear fruit and grow branches rather, and then begin to bear fruit. And so what I have discovered, because every time YouTube will tell me that somebody subscribed, I always go to their channel to say if maybe I can also subscribe back, return the favor and help one another grow. But I noticed that the majority of the people actually, the majority of the people who follow me are just people who are just scrolling by. I was actually checking their profile. They are not content creators. The people who just come to YouTube to consume like I used to be. So they are YouTube content consumers and just maybe decided to subscribe just to support. Maybe they liked something. I don't know what motivated them, but they are not returning subscribers. And so in the 1 year that I have been on YouTube, I've not really had a tribe that is following me. I've not had returning subscribers. And another thing I've learned on YouTube is that it's easy. People said it's easy to get the first 100. But for me, it was easy to make the first 20 subscribers. And it's hard to get returning subscribers. So what did I do? This year, when I opened the new channel, my language channel, I started taking tutorial classes on YouTube. There are a lot of content creators who are teaching others how to grow their YouTube channel. The funny thing is this, everything they said to do, I have done. Like they said, go and upload a video using certain algorithms. They teach the algorithms of the videos. And I did that. And unfortunately, I've not seen the 1,000 subscribers, that those things that say, uh, do this, click these settings and you will have 10,000 subscribers, how to get monetized in 10 days, how to get 4,000 views in 24 hours, how to do this, how to do that. And I've done what I can do. I know that I've done what I can do. I know that I am learning, but what I have come to find out or to accept rather is it's a growth phase. If I have not been able to impact someone to come back to my channel and say, okay, what do you have for me this week? Then my tribe has not found me. Yeah, my tribe has not found me because like I said, the majority of my subscribers don't even have content. They don't even have one content. And there was one that particularly struck me. He has no content, but he has over 100 subscribers. It shows you they're either busy on another platform, and so people came to support them thinking they were going to start a journey here. I was listening to a short, and the gorilla said, I'm not giving up. If only I have 5 views, then it means I have affected 5 people today, and that's enough for me. And that is what I have decided to do, to continue doing what I love doing, because what I'm doing here on YouTube actually is helping me with my creativity, is helping me leave a legacy. Tomorrow maybe I'm gone, I'm no more here. Someone will come here and look for Dorcas Glader and say, oh, that's the Dorcas Glader. Oh, this is what she spoke about. This is what she believed in. This was what she stood for. Leave a legacy, leave a record of my journey here on earth. So what I've taken with me from my journey on YouTube actually is resilience. Yeah. It has made me not to put my happiness or my self-worth in the hands of other people, because it's very hard when you create a content, edit, publish, and then there's nobody watching you. It really can mess up with your emotional health, to think, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing something well enough, and so I shouldn't do this. And then you go back feeling bad, feeling sad, just because of views, you know. So I have grown beyond the sadness, the feeling sad that I don't have returning subscribers. I'm just going to keep my grind. I'm going to keep doing what I want to do, keep doing what I love doing, knowing that one day there'll be that one person that'll say, do you think you can do something? Like the last live I did 2 weeks ago, it was thanks to one subscriber who asked for me to do something. And I did, and it's going to be well. It's going to be fine. Somebody's going to find my content interesting enough, engaging enough to come back and find more content on my channel. And yeah, we go there all right. Like we say in Nigeria, we go there all right. Rome was not built in a day. I went to ask ChatGPT how many years it took to build Rome. And ChatGPT said to me, Rome was not built in a day. It's just an adage that people say to say anything good takes time to create, because it took Rome centuries, that is hundreds of years, centuries to build that empire. And at the end of it all, Rome was still brought down. So, like I said, everything in life is not stable. Today, China's economic prowess is being known by no effort of her own. We are all turning now to China. We all know what China has contributed on the economic platform. So that is what impacted me with that news, to say a country that was looked down upon, whose okay, not that we look down upon them like that, but yeah, a country whose products was ill spoken of, today is looked at in a positive light. So that's the same thing. One day you're going to come here and look for Dorcas Glader, Dorcas Making Memories, and you're going to find 1,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers. Who knows? Probably I'm going to find something else more creative, more passionate, and I'll close the channel. Who knows? Life changes, the tides change. And I hope that it changes for you. April has been a month of sober reflection, a month of positivity for me. I turned a year older. And so I hope that you always pick out something positive from the news, like I did with China's newfound fame. And I'll see you next week. I just wanted to close my birth month with this last live chat. I'll look for an interesting topic. But if you are a returning subscriber and you finally get to watch this live, or you are watching me for the first time, let me know. Again, I'll keep saying, let me know, what is it that brings you to YouTube? Are you here to learn? Are you here to entertain yourself? Or do you just scroll by just because you are bored like you? I do that on Instagram. Yeah, let me know. Thank you for the one like. Thank you for the few of you who breezed in and breezed out. And I'll see you next Saturday. Bye-bye.